My fellow Americans, when a man seeks to attack not only you but your family, it reveals something deeper than politics. It speaks to the character of the one who throws the insult, and it tests the strength of the one who receives it. Recently, on live television, I heard words directed not simply at me, but at the heart of my marriage, the bond that has sustained me for more than 3 decades, the partnership that has been my anchor through every storm of public life.
The attack wasn't just personal, it was historic in its implications. On live television, former President Barack Obama found himself confronted with words that didn't simply target him as a political figure. They went deeper. They struck at the very heart of his marriage, at the bond he has shared with Michelle Obama for more than 30 years. And in that moment, Obama responded not just as a politician, but as a husband, a father, and a man who understood the weight of family in America's story. Throughout his career, Barack Obama has faced a lifetime of insults. His faith has been questioned, his citizenship has been doubted, and his leadership has been mocked. Yet, through every season of criticism, he has tried to rise above bitterness. But here, the insult was different. This wasn't about policy or politics. It wasn't about speeches, elections, or ideology. It was about Michelle, the woman who had walked beside him since his earliest days as a community organizer, the woman who stood with him as a young state senator, the woman who shouldered the weight of history alongside him when he stood before the nation in 2008. In Obama's view, insulting his wife was an attack not just on him, but on the very foundation of what marriage represents. He reminded America that Michelle Obama has never been a mere supporting character in his story. She has been his partner in the truest sense. Never behind him, never ahead of him, but always with him. More than a first lady, more than a mother, more than a professional success, Michelle has been, in his words, the embodiment of grace under pressure. Obama drew a larger lesson from that insult, one that reached far beyond his own marriage. Marriage, he explained, is not a punchline for late-night jokes or a weapon for political theater. It is a sacred covenant, a commitment to weather storms together, to raise children with shared values, and to build a life rooted in respect and trust. When that covenant is mocked on national television, it reflects not just on one couple, but on a culture that too often tears down instead of builds up. The danger, Obama argued, is that when leaders normalize disrespect, it does not stop with them. It trickles down into society, giving permission for cruelty, sarcasm, and division to take root in everyday life. Disrespect corrodes trust. It weakens communities. And, left unchecked, it creates a culture where cruelty masquerades as strength. Obama made it clear. America cannot afford to become that culture. Instead of responding with bitterness or rage, Obama turned to gratitude. He spoke with pride about the strength of his marriage, the quiet resilience that no insult could diminish. Every morning, he said, he wakes up next to Michelle, and he is reminded that their bond is real, their love unshakable. He reflected on the countless Americans who share that same strength in their own families. Couples who aren't famous, who don't appear on television, but who wake up each day and choose each other again and again. Families who face bills, sickness, hardship, and loss, yet endure it together. That, Obama said, is the quiet strength of America. And then, with the precision of a seasoned leader, Obama shifted the focus from himself to the people. He argued that insults to marriage are not just about his family. They are about every family. About same-sex couples who fought for the right to marry and were told their love was a joke. About interracial couples who were once told their relationships were illegal. About immigrants mocked for their accents, for daring to love across cultures and borders. Every insult to love, Obama declared, is an insult to America itself, because America has always been at its best when it expands the circle of belonging. Obama also reminded the nation of Michelle's most famous words, "When they go low, we go high." To some, it was just a campaign slogan, but to the Obamas, It has always been a philosophy of life. Through countless attacks, Michelle chose dignity over anger, respect over bitterness, love over hate. That, he said, is what true leadership looks like. He also shared a more intimate reflection. Back in the years when he served as a state senator in Illinois, there were long nights when he barely saw Michelle. They were exhausted, juggling work, parenting, and the endless grind of bills. Yeah, sometimes arguments happened, sometimes frustrations boiled over. But through it all, one truth remained constant. They loved each other and they believed in each other. That belief carried them through the storms then, and it still does now. For Obama, that's what marriage is about. Not the absence of struggle, but the refusal to give up. And so, when his marriage is mocked on national television, he does not feel shame. He feels gratitude. Gratitude for finding a partner strong enough to weather storms. Gratitude for raising daughters who grew up seeing mutual respect between husband and wife. Gratitude for a bond that grew stronger, not weaker, in the face of adversity. But Obama didn't stop at gratitude. He reminded America that words matter. Words can build or destroy. Words can divide or unite. Words can wound or heal. And when those words come from leaders, amplified by the reach of television and social media, they carry even greater responsibility. Leadership, Obama argued, is not measured by how many insults you can hurl on live TV. It is measured by how many people you can lift up, how many lives you can touch, how much hope you can inspire. To Obama, Michelle's record of leadership speaks louder than any insult ever could. She has lifted up students who doubted themselves, young women who felt excluded from power, families who felt invisible, and communities long neglected. She has done so not for applause, but because she believes in the promise of America. Insulting. That, he said, is insulting the very spirit of what this country stands for. In his conclusion, Obama refused to let the insult define the moment. Instead, he framed it as a reminder that family is sacred, that respect is essential, and that love is stronger than hate. America, he insisted, should aspire to something greater than cruelty masquerading as power. And in that vision, the quiet strength of family, the dignity of love, and the respect we owe one another will always outshine the fleeting noise of insults on television.